Joining us now is Matt Simpson. He is the CEO of Brazil Potash to discuss this huge milestone and the company's vision for the future and why now was the time to access public markets. Good morning, Matt.
Hi, good morning. The main reason why we decided to list the company at this point in time is we're fully permitted for construction of the project, so it's time to raise much larger funds to be able to actually build our asset.
And how would you say that you're leveraging this IPO right now? You have access to the public markets, you have a huge pool of investors now potentially that will invest in your brand. How do you plan to continue this momentum?
We have lots of different catalysts that will be coming out over the coming year. The biggest thing for our project, again, is that we are fully permitted to construct, so now we plan to actually use the funds that were raised from the IPO to actually start building out this project. The timing is absolutely critical because potash is one of the three main nutrients used to grow food with no substitute, and half of the world's supply comes from Russia and Belarus, so we're very exposed.
And one of your key missions is obviously food security and sustainable agriculture. Talk to me about how you're working to accomplish these challenges.
Well, Brazil is one of the world's largest exporters of agricultural goods, about $167 billion a year, but it imports 98% of its potash, which is one of the three main nutrients used to grow food with no substitute, when one of the biggest potential basins is sitting right in the backyard where the farmers are located. So by being in Brazil, our cost to extract, process, and deliver to a farmer will be less than just the transportation cost alone for everyone else.
What steps are you taking to ensure environmentally friendly mining practices?
One of the biggest things is that our project will connect to the national grid in Brazil, which is over 80% renewable sourced electricity. And by doing that, we're going to take over 200,000 people off of diesel-generated power. When you look at our Scope 1, Scope 2 emissions, which are the emissions generated at the plant and in the production of our potash, will be about 1.2 million tons lower than the next best, which is Canadian. And then when you add on that you're not unnecessarily transporting this potash about 12,000 miles, you save another 200,000 tons on Scope 3. So to put that in perspective, Trini, you're going to save over 32 million trees equivalent of greenhouse gas.
That is really incredible. Talk to me about your motivation behind this mission and starting this company to achieve these goals.
Well, again, if you're going to be in the agricultural space, Brazil's really where you have to be. Brazil has the highest amount of fresh water in the world, amongst the highest amounts of land suitable to grow food, and year-round climate where you never stop growing. So today, again, it's one of the agricultural powerhouses, but as the world continues to grow, Brazil's importance to feed the world will also grow. But having potash is absolutely essential, and some of these geopolitical transportation risks are all mitigated by this project.
I was going to say, how are you mitigating through the challenges that we're seeing right now with, economic uncertainty, geopolitical situations unfolding around the world?
Well, look, if we just, again, look at potash prices, when the U.S. sanctioned Belarus, prices doubled. And then when Putin invaded Ukraine, they doubled yet again. So within the span of just 1 year, potash went from about $300 to $1,200 a ton. Why do people care? Well, because if the inputs in order to grow our food become 4 times more expensive, then the farmers are not going to buy as much, which means they're not going to grow as much food. So globally, food prices will rise dramatically, and the availability and quality of our food will decrease. So by having potash close to where it's most needed helps mitigate those risks.
And just quickly, I want to understand your business strategy moving forward. How do you want to position the business to keep up with the growing demand?
Well, again, if you look at the world, it's growing at about 1.7% on a continuous average growth rate. So it's growing at about 2 million tons a year, but Brazil's growing at 6.8%, 4 times that rate. So by being in Brazil, we're actually closest to the second largest, fastest growing market in the world for potash.